Hello, scholars. This is Professor Wood here, and I wanted to just kind of give you a little bit of an introduction into character analysis for week one. One of your week one tasks is to do a quick write involving characterization with Mrs. Mallard. And so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to do a characterization analysis. So, one of the first things you need to do when you are reading, of course, when you read a short story and you first meet the characters in the short story, they're essentially a stick figure to you. You don't really know a whole lot about them. The only way you can learn about them is to analyze them and look at their words and their choices and their actions and their looks and the description. So, there are several different things that we're going to do just to kind of look at a character analysis. So, one of the first things, I'm sorry, I'm left handed, so I'm going to turn my paper. When you're looking at aspects of character analysis, is you are going to look at specifically words to describe the characters. So, you're looking at building your vocabulary. So, I usually put it into three different categories. Um, there's physical characteristics, there's emotional characteristics, and then there's psychological characteristics. So, in doing that, I'm just going to write down some words, and you can feel free to take notes as I go along. But physical include words such as beautiful, decrepit, delicate, frail, graceful, handsome, tall. You could also say short, um, and unkempt. That basically means messy, and emaciated, which basically means skinny. When you're looking at emotional words to describe characters, you're looking at different words such as confused, happy, sad. These are typical emotions that people feel. Kind, shocked, supportive, sympathetic, and terrified. Again, these are not an end all be all list, but these are just typical words. Psychological, antagonistic is one, clever is another one, level headed, confused. Again, confused also can go with emotional, but that's also a psychological feeling. Driven, goal oriented, encouraging, rational, which is also another word for level headed, sensible, and worldly. Now, these are just basic adjectives that you can use to describe characters, but they are also extremely important. You need to, one thing when you're doing characterization, you need to be as precise as possible. So, right now, I would like for you to kind of sort of think of a character or a person, friend, family member in your life that you can characterize. For me, I'm going to choose my husband. So, I'm going to put Mr. Wood right here. And so, if I were doing a characterization, I do typically for me, I just like to do a small and short graphic organizer. So, one of the physical traits that Mr. Wood has is that he is tall, and he is also handsome. He is also very supportive, and I would say as well, he's encouraging. He is level headed, and he is definitely clever. So for me, and again, you don't have to do it this way, but this to me helps me deliver certain adjectives to describe individuals. And you have to make a lot of inferences. In your first short story that you're reading, the story of an hour, it's rather short. And so you don't get a lot of information. And so you have to do some inferences as well when you're doing a characterization. But the one thing I want to make certain is that you avoid common pitfalls. So these are common mistakes when you are doing characterization. Do not limit the number of descriptions of your character. I could go on and on about Mr. Wood. Of course, I've been married to him for a long time. Do not use just one single word. Um, these are individuals that are complex. Your characters are developed by the writers, and when they wrote the stories, they intended on your characters to be complex. So there's not just one level to them. They're not just one very boring person. And do not just rely on synonyms. So don't go to a thesaurus and look up words that mean the same thing when you're writing. So, really, kind of what you want to look for. These are just common mistakes that happen when you are writing about characters. You want to make sure that you're looking deeper on a deeper level. I'm going to autofocus this because it seems that it is going in and out while I am writing. But these are some common mistakes that happen when students begin their writing and character analysis. So I would definitely make sure you have this list, write it down, play this video, pause this video, practice with it, and work with it. Another thing that you can do is you can make a simple chart. Now, I am not the most artistic individual, so I'm just going to go ahead and do my best with this as I'm going along here. So bear with me for just a moment as I take this sort of thing and make a chart. Um, so you're looking at, if you want to make a chart here, um, it's up to you. And you can do this on a doc, on whatever aspect you feel the most comfortable doing. But for me, this is what works. And again, like I said, I am not an artist. So I make a chart, and the first thing I do is I look at several different things. Um, and when I'm doing this, And again, you don't have to make a chart, you can just write it down. But to me, it is helpful to have sort of a visual. And again, I'm left handed, so my apologies. So the first thing that I look at is the narrator's description. And then I look at the character's actions. And then I look at the character's thoughts. And then I look at the character's dialogue. So from there, I will then find a quote to support and then look for the characterization vocabulary word or adjective. And again, you can do it either way. So we are looking at, I've asked you to look at Louise Mallard in The Story of an Hour. So what you could do with that is you could look at the narrator's description of Louise Mallard, take a couple of minutes, look through the story, see if you can find a quote of her description, and then the character's actions as well as her thoughts and dialogue. Because sometimes characterization can be done one of two ways. You have direct characterization, and then you have indirect characterization. There are two types. So direct characterization is it tells the reader exactly about the character. Indirect characterization does not. So these are inferences the reader has to make based upon the words of the author. So, like about Louise Mallard, for example. Another good way of looking at character analysis is this short acronym. So, again, you are not obligated to do any of these, but this certainly helps when you're looking at characterization. So, you're looking at the character's speech, you're looking at the character's thoughts, you're looking at the character's effect on others, you're looking at the character's actions, and then, of course, the character's looks. So, the acronym STEAL is a short but sweet way to look at characterization, and it certainly does help when you are trying to figure out who or what you're analyzing. So, I do hope that that helps. One thing I do want to caution you when you are writing analysis is that you want to make certain that you are not using personal pronouns in your academic writing. So if you're looking at character complexity, think of it kind of like an iceberg. At the top of the iceberg, you have action, speech, and thoughts. And then beneath the iceberg, you have things like motivations and relationships and fulfillment. So you have basic information. So you're kind of looking at how is the character described? Is the character's name significant? How does the character's background, motivation, desires, or what they do and say? What is the setting? So you're just kind of looking at that and trying to figure out how you can create a quick character analysis. Um, and really, it's just sort of um, putting together basic information. If you were going to write a thesis statement, you're looking at the what and you're looking at the how and the why. So when you're looking at character analysis, um, and I will do a further lesson on thesis statements in next week's videos. But if you're looking at thesis statements, you want to make sure you have, certainly in your thesis statement, you want the tag statement So that's your title, your author, and your genre. In this case, you have The Story of an Hour, written by Kate Chopin, and it is a short story. And you're also wanting to look at how she develops the character of Louise Mallard. So, again, you can use the Steele method, you can use the quick chart method, any of those things when you're looking at Louise Mallard. I hope this has helped. I also have additional videos that I have posted for you in character analysis. But if you have questions, feel free to reach out, and I look forward to working with you this semester. Have a fantastic first week, scholars.